It's Wednesday, and what happens on Wednesday?
We always talk antiques on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Not only do we
Some
talk
of us are antiques.
Yeah.
Well, and we need to remember now.
said some of us.
9 more days till the Force Awakens.
Yeah. I've already got it figured out though, Ronnie. We're not going to be able to go that first week or so to see the Star Wars.
I'd have to take out a second mortgage to go.
Yeah. I mean, some of those tickets I've heard, $15 ticket bringing $400 and $500.
Yeah, on the secondary market. I mean, they've been sold out.
Well, eBay.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
The drive-in's doing all 3 theaters with Star Wars the very first night. They've sold out the entire drive-in. No more movies, just Star Wars on Thursday.
Wow, ain't that
They'll
They'll
something?
play 6 times.
You're kidding.
Well, I
At
wonder
least
how
the debut night next Thursday, all 3 screens both showing the Star Wars.
long they're going to keep the show, reckon. The
They'll
movie.
keep it a few weeks.
Okay, so eventually we'll get to go see it.
Eventually,
Yeah.
we'll be able to afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went down there at that
That's
low budget.
$5 a car, isn't it?
How much?
Isn't it $5 a car?
I don't know. How much
Yeah,
is it?
I think $6 a person for 2
You think-
movies. So
you
you can
think-
see it twice for $6.
But do you think though that it'll be a little more on the Star Wars movie?
They usually don't. Usually it's the same price. Sometimes you got to play it back to back. Hunger Games that just came out, they had to play it back to back for like legal stuff. Couldn't play it with another movie. So $6 for the same movie twice. It's pretty.
Right.
That's cheaper than the.
And
Real
this,
theater.
This Harrison Ford said this is going to be a really spectacular movie.
Well, a lot of the original people I know, Chewbacca, that guy's 71 years old now. He's
Figure
in
me,
it.
you.
He's in it this time.
I saw
No,
a picture on
yeah.
Facebook. This guy bought his entire theater out. He wanted to watch it by himself. Bought like 150 tickets,
Wow.
so nobody could disturb him during the movie.
I believe he's mentally retarded himself, isn't he?
He loves
To have
Star
that
Wars.
much money
Well,
to buy the entire
It's
theater.
all about perspective, That little buying 150 seats probably don't bother that guy. He probably can buy 5,000 seats.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, or have his own theater.
Where's his mind at, I wonder?
Who knows?
He's hung up on Star Wars.
He'll be happy.
I'm going to say 70 years old and he's hung up on Star Wars. He got some real...
Well, that's the guy, that Chewbacca guy, the 71-year-old. He started out in 77. He's still doing it.
In Return of the Jedi, 3 different people played Darth Vader.
Well,
the part of Darth
Well,
Vader.
that David, what's his name?
Prowse, David Prowse.
Well, did he play it most of the time? Or
Right, in the costume, and of course you had James Earl Jones doing the
wasn't
voice.
he like 6'6" anyway? That
He was a
David
big old guy.
was
yeah.
Chewbacca guy. He was like 7'2" and was 7'5". I guess he shrank some.
Yeah, well, age does that to you.
7'2".
Yeah,
Hey,
but-
David, you never did introduce our man here.
He don't have to be.
good-looking fella.
John
getting
Hirschman,
over.
everybody knows him.
John
He's been on
Hirschman doesn't need any
He's
introduction.
been on the show so much that he's almost a record man. Right?
Not quite.
But then when they took his mask off towards the end there, then they had an entirely different actor in the costume. And if you'll notice when they done the little ghost thing there at the very end, how short Darth Vader actually was there, and you could tell the difference. It was a Shaw guy. I don't remember his first
Yeah.
name.
So what about in this new movie? Is the Darth Vader character still the David guy?
It would still be David Prowse, I
It
would
will
say, more than likely, yes. Of course,
Well,
I
R2D2's the same character, and so is
and
the
Anthony Daniels and Kenny Baker, and
yeah.
they're all back. Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill, and
Well,
Carrie Fisher.
yeah, and
The gang's all there.
yeah, a little older.
Yeah, but a lot wiser.
I read on on some of the websites, how they have comments and stuff, and somebody said, you reckon that group that's on there talking about Harrison Ford and them said, you reckon they're taking a lot of glucosamine and conjoined because they're probably going to need it.
They probably are. Harrison Ford broke his hand, and he'd already been in a plane crash.
Well, there's a lot of little comments though about their age,
What is it,
Yeah.
about 30 years gone by?
Well, 77.
77.
Where have they been in all them years?
That's almost 40 years, John.
Almost 40 years.
Yeah.
Well, Luke's been
38.
training Jedi.
Yeah.
Oh, he been training?
Yeah, he's been training Jedi on Yavin.
So just think out what you could do 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we're not going to talk about The Force Awakens, we want to talk about another of my favorite toys is tin type toys,
Yeah.
tin wind-ups. They next to the Star Wars and the Star Trek, they have to be my favorite because they're so colorful and they display well. You know, and they're just
And they grow in value. Don't forget that part, Ron.
right. Of course, they're gorgeous toys. You know, today's toys, they might be durable, but most of them are made out of plastic, which it doesn't really have the charm and the nostalgia of the tin toys.
Tin litho toys.
Right. These tin toys, they were made in large numbers, and mainly before World War II, and are among the priciest collectibles toys that are out there today. Metal toys made before World War I can be considered true works of art, especially because most of them were painted by hand. You know, the ones I believe we talked about that a few weeks back. You know, you were talking about how they would recycle the metals.
Right. Yeah. But I'll tell you, there's three really big toy companies, and they all had previous starts. Like Marx. Marx and his brother started that company with two little items, but they had already worked for another company that
Right.
made tin toys.
I believe he worked for Schuco.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if not Schuco. Schuco is a German company.
One of the others I have.
I think Strauss.
Yeah, you're right.
But also, Ronnie,
Fernando
Buddy
Strauss.
L. That's another company that made a lot of tin toys. But his tin toys were actually, when you think of tin, I think of weak. But now Buddy L actually had strong toys made, and they even advertised him, an adult, standing on one of his trucks.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I know they're very
But
durable.
Buddy L is really the owner's son's name, Buddy L. And the gentleman that started that actually originally was making car parts, you know, like fenders and hoods and that type of stuff. And he made toys for his kid, and then all the neighborhood seen some of those toys, and before you know it, the guy was out of the parts business making real car
toys.
parts. Yeah. And grew right on up to, well, I mean, even in the 70s there was Buddy L. in March.
And even today, you know, the Buddy L's are very desirable. And the Wyandotte,
Yeah.
you know, and the Structo.
And Structo is the third company that's really big. And really it started out as a tool and die company that made toys. You know, it made other things, but it started
Right.
making toys. But they changed the name because they wanted to imply that their toys were indestructible. So that's how that Structo, and they were strong. But I'm going to tell you something. Keystone and Buddy L, and that's another one. Keystone's another company. But those toys were strong.
They lasted forever.
Well, they still are here.
Yeah, and they still look good. A lot
100
of 'em.
years. Well, not hardly 100, about 90 years, and they're still here.
Don't you wonder how many toys were destroyed during World War II when we had such a shortage
Oh,
of,
God, for
Of
the
metal.
metal.
Of metal.
Yes.
Lots of
a
toys.
lot of toys, a lot of things that
Not only a lot
you
of-
don't even think about,
Yeah.
bicycles and everything else.
Yeah, John, also, not only the toy side of it, look at all the vintage cars that they got
wow.
Yeah.
scrapped out.
Oh yeah,
Those Duesenbergs and all those.
they had to have the metal and
Yeah.
and everything was salvaged.
Yeah.
A lot of those old nice hand-painted toys, you know, they made before
Goodbye.
World War I. Boy, don't that make you sick.
Well, does now.
Yeah. With the advent of the chromolithography, which was, you know, where they would put it on the plates and stamp it into the toys.
Well, actually, how they made those toys was it'd be a sheet of metal, and they'd run it through, and it would, you know, it had the screen print, and
Right.
they'd screen print a whole sheet. Let's say a 4x8 sheet might
Right.
have hundreds, not hundreds, probably
They-
several
what they
dozen
could get on a sheet.
cars. Yeah, whatever it may be, depending on the size of the car.
Right.
Now, to take that, screen print it, have that cut out then, and then the piece of equipment that bent it and made it into a car. And of course, there's a lot of parts to a simple car in there, Ronnie.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of parts. But the actually the chromolithography was developed in the late 19th century, and like we say, it allowed multicolor illustrations to be printed on the flat tin plates, which were molded in the toys. Now, starting in the 20s, lithographed tin toys began to dramatically change toy production, like we were talking about. American manufacturers could produce excuse me, these colorful toys a lot more inexpensively than the European imports of the time. And so with the mass production came also the mass appeal, and the new tin toys, they were mostly based on characters and celebrities that were popular at the time
Yeah.
in like the newspapers and the comic strips.
Right. And one more thing, too, while I'm thinking about it, Ronnie, about Mark's toys. The reason he was so successful, matter of fact, he was 77 years old when he sold the company.
Or in 72, I believe.
Yeah. He was 77 when he sold it. But anyway, his whole plan was to build that toy cheaper and better, not just cheaper. And that's what made that company so huge.
Right.
They could sell it at a cheaper price as far as the manufacturing side of it and the wholesale side of it. And then it was also a toy that lasted.
Yeah.
You know, it had wind-up works in most of them, you know, to propel them. They didn't have battery-operated toys, you know. Well, they did, like battery-operated headlights, but as far as the mechanism to make it move, it was clockwork.
Yeah.
Wind-up.
Yeah, and I remember, and you taught me this lesson when I first started collecting them, was to never leave your toy fully wound up.
Let it wind all the way down.
Right, when you play with
Weakens the mainspring.
Yeah. You taught me that early on when I started collecting those. I'll never forget that. But we were talking about they were based on the characters from the newspaper comic strips and, Walt Disney movies. They provided a lot of popular subject matter for the toy makers. Among the most well-known makers of the mechanical tin toys, like we say, were Marx, Chin, Lehman, and Strauss. We're talking about the tin wind-ups.
Right.
Others included Cortland, Gerard, Ohio Arts, Schuco, Unique Arts, and Wolverine. And
All good companies.
a little later on, we'll talk about some examples of those toys that they produced.
I tell you what, with that note, Ronnie, let's take a break.
All right.
We would like to thank Dr. David Florence for supporting Let's Talk Antiques. See Dr. Florence at 804 Kalon Street in Manchester for all of your medical needs. Call 728-5522 for your appointment today. Most insurances accepted.
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
Well, Ronnie, what better thing to talk about at Christmas time, what do you think, Ray, is toys?
Yeah, it's true.
But these toys that Ronnie's talking about, these are not toys you play with. These are investment toys.
Yes,
And these are toys that we've tracked for years that the value has always increased on them.
yeah, and like I was telling John while we were on break a while ago, the mint toys are always going to bring the money. The good stuff's always going to bring the money with these, and they display better than just about anything that I can think of.
Well, that's what I like about them, Ronnie, is being able to collect something that you can actually look at. And that's why I like old signs and the Coke machines and the gas pumps and all that stuff, is because not only do they make your room look good. By the way, John says I'm getting too much stuff in one room. But anyway.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay. You can build a bigger room.
Yeah. But not only does it make your room or location look good, you can actually see your investment grow by if you follow we track this stuff.
Right. And you have the the pleasure of enjoying this stuff, and it's better than money in the bank. Always going to be better than money in the bank.
Yeah, you know what interest is now.
Yeah. Now, before we left, we were talking about the different manufacturers, and what's interesting about this is many of those manufacturers had business relationships with each other, and over the years, some would be found working together, producing toys for others, distributing others' toys, or being absorbed by the other companies. And there even appeared to be, some pilfering and reproduction of the other toys. But one of the advantages of lithography was that it allowed the old toys to be recycled in many ways. When a character's appeal started to wane a little bit, you could just take and print a new image on the same toy.
And you were right about one thing, Ronnie. Like Popeye the parrot, he shows him with a parrot on his shoulder, and he's pushing a wheelbarrow. Well, to use that same toy, what they did, they made a street cleaner out of him.
Yeah.
They just it's just a matter of painting him different. And he was a street sweeper, which sold more toys.
Right.
Mark's reversible. That not only that's a car that's about 16 inches long, and it's 1939. And when it hit the wall, it would back up and go the other way. But not only did they have the basic reversibles, they had the Mortimer Sturd and Charlie McCarthy one. They had the Dagwood and Blondie one, and then they also had the original one in a blue color. Most of them are red. They had them with a painted on chrome, and then they actually had the chrome on them. So they had different variations of these toys.
But it was the same car.
But it was the same
They just
toy.
changed out the characters that were in the car.
Right.
Right.
Or the color.
And painted it different.
Yeah, or the color.
Yeah. We were talking, like many of these mechanical tin wind-ups, they'd show up in surprisingly similar versions with another manufacturer's name on them. Of the companies listed here, Marx was no doubt the most prolific. The company founder, Louis Marx, at one time was employed by another leading toy maker, just like David said, and it was Ferdinand Strauss. He left. Some of his first successes were new versions of old Strauss toys.
Yeah, a couple of them that really was hot.
The Climbing Monkey and the Alabama Coon Jigger. Many of the popular Marx tin wind-ups were based on popular characters, and one of the most sought after is the Merrymakers Band, which is a group of
Mickey Mouse characters. They look like mice.
They were based on Mickey Mouse. They're a bunch of mouse musicians, playing a piano, and there's a couple of them sitting in the chairs, and there's the band leader on the top, and and they've got a little piano they're playing. Some of the other highly valued toys are the Amos and Andy Walkers, the Donald Duck Duet, Popeye the Champ, Little Abner and his Dog Patch Band, and the Superman rollover airplane. You remember him? Didn't you have one of them?
Yes, but they made also the Superman rollover tank.
Right.
Which was the same tank that they sold in other versions, but this one here happened to roll over.
Yes.
Which was no problem to do,
Other companies such as Chin, they also capitalized on popular cartoon characters, and because they produced several Popeye toys, among others. J. Chin and Company was founded in 1903 and was best known for its carnival-themed toys. Its Ferris wheel is fairly well known among toy collectors. And Chin also produced a number of affordable tin banks. The little coin banks where you would put a coin in their hand and they would put it over in the bank, which made it interesting.
Well,
for
another
children.
toy that Chin made that was really popular, and I've got a couple of them, one in a box and one without, is the roller coaster.
Oh yes,
The Chin roller
another
coaster.
of their carnival-based toys.
Yeah.
I used to have a Ferris wheel. I didn't have a very good one, but I had one. CHEIN. Gerard was founded shortly after Chin, but now he didn't start producing toys until 1918. It subcontracted for Marks and Chin in the 20s. In fact, and I was talking to John about this earlier, several Gerard and Marks toys are identical because they were produced in the same plant with different names on them.
Well, today, when they make appliances, isn't it amazing how they all kind of look alike? That's
Oh,
because
yeah.
the same
The
company
same
is making all
company
those
owns them
different
all.
appliances.
But now, Marks later took over Gerard in the 30s.
You mean the Maytag man's not that lonesome man?
No, he's not really.
No, he's not very
I mean,
lonesome at
he
all.
acts like he's lonesome, but he's not. He's got plenty of friends now.
And he's got plenty to do.
Yeah.
Now, a New Jersey-based Unique Arts isn't known for an extensive line of toys, but it produced some that are among the favorites among the 10 toy collectors, and it too was acquired by Marks at some point.
Now, didn't Unique Art, they made like sand pails and that type of stuff and shovels, little sand buckets and, I mean, of course they made other toys, but
Yes.
they're really highly collectible, those little buckets with all the different characters on them, Jack and Jill and just different ones that's on those little, there was a lady stopped by several years ago, probably about 10 years ago, and I'd had a few of those in the restaurant, and that's exactly what she wanted.
Yeah, Unique Arts actually produced the Little Abner and the Dog Patch
Yep.
Band. I thought he did.
Uh-huh.
And one that I used to have.
And it's almost like the Merrymaker.
Yeah, it's
How
the
about
same
that?
piano.
Yeah.
It's the same one.
And Marks made the Merrymaker though, right?
Right, exactly.
So that tells you. Well, what was you going to say there?
I noticed one that I had was the Rodeo Joe,
Oh,
the
yeah.
crazy car.
Yeah, that's another
I've had
wind-up.
I've had a couple of those.
They made several different versions of that Rodeo Joe though.
Yeah, but like we were saying, 10 toys have kept their value over the years. But there doesn't seem to be the demand there once was, and I think it's comes down to the simple premise that everyone that wants one has one. There's not the demand, but the price is still there. I mean, the good ones are always going to bring money. Now, one exception would be 10 toys in absolute mint condition, which we were talking about. In 2000, a Mickey and Minnie on Motorcycle 10 wind-up, now without the box, sold for close to $53,000 in an auction.
That tells you that's a rare little toy.
Uh-huh.
And we're talking about toys probably that cost 15 cents, 29 cents,
Yeah.
that kind of price.
At the same time now,
What about that, Ray?
the same toy with the box sold for $110,000 at another auction.
What makes it vivid to you is when you think about, I remember throwing that thing in the garbage
Oh,
can.
yeah.
And
That happened.
playing with them.
Yeah.
That happens a lot with comic books and baseball cards,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
If I've heard one story, I've heard hundreds about people say, well, I used to have, and they go
Yeah.
into that same story.
Yeah.
About putting on their spokes on their
Yeah.
bicycle.
I'm
wheels.
saving my toys. Shoot.
Now the Mickey and Minnie toy had two things going for it. One was that it was in pristine condition, and it featured a recognizable, well-loved character. Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse. But it also proves to us how having the original box can almost double the value of a toy.
Yeah, that's a real early toy, too, you're talking about, Ronnie, because
Yes.
Mickey Mouse has a long nose on that one.
Yeah.
As Mickey got older, his nose shrank and he got more fatter of a nose.
I remember you telling me
But
about that.
that toy you're talking about, though, both of them has longer noses.
That's original.
Makes them worth more.
Yeah. Let's take a break with that,
Okay.
and then we'll get back here. He's got to sell some of this show, ain't you, Keith?
We would like to thank Dr. David Florence for supporting Let's Talk Antiques. See Dr. Florence at 804 Kalon Street in Manchester for all of your medical needs. Call 728-5522 for your appointment today. Most insurances accepted.
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
All right, we're back, and one thing that Ronnie's talking about is the 10 toys, but I went to the completed auctions on Marks, and something that we'll have to talk about one, I guess you can almost have a whole show on this, is the play sets.
Oh, Lord,
You know,
yeah.
Marks made a lot of play sets to go with all these different movies and TV shows and stuff. And the top seller on Marks is, when you type in Marks Toys, these are all completed auctions that actually sold.
Right.
This is a Marks wagon train play set. Now, you know, it's got, if you take it about, and it's got the animals and the wagons and, you know, characters, all the different characters. This thing had 13 bits. Ray, how much you think that brought? Now, it's a play set now, just little plastic toys, you know how they look.
That we played with, Ray, when we were kids.
Now, the play sets in the service
Yeah.
stations always
Well,
sold pretty high.
$5,105.75. Now, here's a Gunsmoke play set. This is the 1960 version of it. $31.38.
Ooh.
$3,138. You know, Gunsmoke started in '55 and ended in
still watch it.
'75. Yeah, I love
still
Gunsmoke.
watch. I love him.
Yeah.
I think they'll be in syndication
Now-
forever.
Oh yeah.
All right,
Hope
now
so.
one of these planes that you was talking about, these rollovers. Now this
Right.
is a different version of what we was talking about. This one here is a Superman instead of the Popeye one.
Right.
This one brought $2,395. Buy it now.
Buy it now.
For a toy, it costs 29 cents.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's
Don't
see.
you wish
Here we
you'd
go.
have
We got
had
another
a couple of
rollover.
hundred of them at 29
Got
cents?
another rollover plane that brought $1,916. And let's see, you was talking about, well here, let's see. We got Popeye, the champ, and he's in a boxing ring with Bluto.
Right,
24 bids, $1,500.
$1,500,
All right. Oh, here's a really nice one. This one actually runs on a little HO track. This is Popeye with a hand car. You wind him up, and Olive Oil's with him, and they're pumping the hand car and going around on a little train track. $2,000.
Now that's a Marks. That's the Marks version, right?
Yeah, here's another Marks. Amos and Andy wind-ups. $1,300 with 5 bids.
Ooh.
Popeye Honey Money Express. It's basically, you wind it up and it's got a train that goes through a tunnel.
Right,
And then a plane that flies over
the airplane.
above them. And we got, let's see, we already talked about a Superman. Here's a good one.
What
Here's,
did that, just curiosity, what did that Popeye Express bring with the Honey Money Express?
let me see.
That's a 1936
$1,449. Okay, here's another one. Here's a G-Man car. It's a wind-up toy. Got the G-Man in the car. Got the machine gun sticking out the front. $1,130 with 40 bids.
Good Lord.
Oh, here's an Amos and Andy. They actually made a fresh air taxi. You know, where you wind it up, and it'll
Yeah,
run,
I've
and
seen
then it'll
those.
stop and shake, and then it'll start and run again and stop and shake. And that's got a Amos and Andy in there, and it's got the dog, and it brought $850. Oh, the Merrymakers, the ones you was talking about? Here's one that brought $999, and they still had the box.
That was good for that if it was
That's a
complete.
good price for that, and but it was in used. It's nothing like
Right,
you know,
not meant. No,
but it's
but still,
having
that
the
was a
box-
good price to
Having the
have.
box.
here's one without a box.
Yes.
$798, 1931, and it is the version with the long noses like we was talking about. Oh, here's a Wells Fargo play set. $758. A play set.
Yeah, what I was with that playset is
Well,
that,
you know, it has, like I said before, like Wells Fargo. Let me just get on here and see what all it's got.
yeah, because you know that's a little something different.
It's loading up here. Let's see what it says. Let me just read the description.
Right.
It says Tales of the Wells Fargo Playset, Series 1000, 1959. Comes Comes with complete bags of dividers and original instruction. The box is complete with some. Let's see if it tells what all's in there.
Now that's odd to have the instructions with it as well.
Yeah. Says the Stagecoach is very nice. No repairs. Horse hitch is intact. No brakes. Soft plastic cowboy accessories are complete. So it's got quite a few things in it.
That'd be a nice piece.
Now, we was talking about Mortimer Snerd
Uh-huh.
and Charlie McCarthy car,
Right.
that reversible. Here's one that brought, and it's got a few scratches on it stuff. Brought $760, and it's got 28 bids on it.
A lot of
That's the one we
interest in
bought?
that
Or
one.
is that a different one?
That's one we bought.
Oh, okay. That's the one we bought. Okay.
Yeah, y'all bought a kitty car too, didn't you?
Oh, what?
Didn't you buy the kitty car? Did y'all buy one of the kitty cars?
No.
Oh,
Bid on them, but we didn't buy.
okay.
Hey, here's an interesting one. Everybody remembers Walt Disney's Zorro. Remember that, Ray? Mm-hmm. Here's a playset now. It had 3 bids on it, $20 shipping. It brought $711 for a playset. Here's the Battle of the Bighorn, original playset, $686. And let's see. Here's a Popeye and olive oil jigger. You know, it's
Right.
olive oil and
We were talking
Popeye
about
standing on
that
top
earlier.
of a building. You wind it up and they're dancing on top of the roof. Now here's the one that I've seen that American Pickers picked up one, but it was busted. This is the Great Garbo, battery powered. It's a huge piece. It says it's got the original box. It's plastic now, but in the 60s it was the big deal because it actually could bend over and pick up something.
Right.
Let's see how tall that thing was. 23 inches tall.
That's big.
Yeah, it took 2D batteries to run it, but it's green and it's called the Great Garbo. Let me see if there's any more here, and then we'll get to your top ones.
Well, you already hit 2 of them.
Have I? Well, that's good that they're in the top.
They're in the top 10. But now I'm looking at prices for stuff in mint condition.
All right, now here's a little dopey, a walking toy, which they made several versions of this same walking toy. Same exact design, except they changed the,
Like we were
the
talking
character.
about earlier,
Like Charlie
uh-huh.
McCarthy or Mortimer Snerd. Now this one here is dopey. $475 with 17 bids. We're talking about something that's not over about 6 inches tall.
A lot of interest
Wind
in
up.
them.
Oh, here's a good one. Wanted Dead or Alive. You got the gun set and the holster. $475. Let's see if I'll get one more here, then we'll let you. Oh, here's a good one. And now this one here was made by several different companies. It's called Joe Penner, and he's really called an eggs and butter man. He's got a duck
Right,
in one hand and eggs in the other, and he's a walker.
I have a picture of him.
Yeah,
back here.
he brought 450, but now there's other companies that made him too, and I've seen them things as high as $1,100-$1,200 a piece.
Right, that's him right there.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know if any of y'all remember this that's listening to us, but does anybody remember the Whistling Spooky Kooky Tree? And it was made by Marks, but it was a Japan version. Marks had a company in Japan too. It's called Lamar. Lamar is what the
Lamar.
Yeah. And then this one here, it's battery operated, brought $450. And with that, Ronnie, I'm gonna turn it back over to you.
That's a lot of money for a battery operated toy. What I was going to hit the top 10 now, what I'm talking about prices here of toys that are in mint condition. Okay, the top 10 are Popeye the Heavy Hitter, Bell and Mallet, and he had a little, he would hit it and it would ring a little bell.
Like you see at the carnivals.
Right, like you said at the carnival, $6,500 for him. We have Popeye the Acrobat, which is a Mark's toy, $5,500 for him.
Who done his voice?
Popeye?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That
I
laugh
don't
was
either.
classic, boy.
All right. we got the producer over there. Google that and see who done the Popeye voice.
There you go.
That laugh was
Now, Ronnie, on these prices that you're giving us,
Jack Mercer.
odds are they
Jack
got
Mercer?
a box with them, correct?
Right, and we're talking about toys that are in mint condition, not
And so the box could be worth
Well, it sound like
as much
double.
as a toy.
half as much as a toy.
Of
So,
course, depending on the condition of the box.
so you gotta know what kind of box you've got.
Right. Even a rough box, is
Yeah.
worth something. I think we hit Popeye the Acrobat, Popeye the Champ. We talked about him a while ago. Tin and celluloid, 1936 marks, $4,000 for a mint one. Mikado Family, which is a Lehman toy, $3,900. Red the Iceman, it's a Marks toy, $3,500. Remember Popeye the Punching Bag, a chin toy, $2,500. Lehman's Autobus, of course, is a Lehman, $2,500. The Popeye Express version of the Honeymoon Express with the airplane, 1936, we were talking about earlier. Now, a mint condition one was $2,400. Hot and Trot, unique art toy, $2,300. And Superman holding an airplane, 1940s marks, as $2,250. And that rounds out our top
All right,
10.
with that, Ron, we're going to take a break and we'll be back. And I'm going to give you some Buddy L prices
All
on some
right.
of these large toys.
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
We would like to thank Dr. David Florence for supporting Let's Talk Antiques. See Dr. Florence at 804 Kalon Street in Manchester for all of your medical needs. Call 728-5522 for your appointment today. Most insurances accepted.
All right, we're back, and before we took the break, I told you that we was going to come back with some Buddy L prices. Now, these toys here, this one I'm going to talk about, most of these toys are at least 26 inches long. And these are the same toys that I was telling you that Buddy L run the ad in the 20s that showed a full-grown man standing on this toy. Full-grown.
Well-built, well-constructed toys.
Well, this one right here, this is a 1930s Buddy L water tower fire truck. Now, this one does have the box, which is really unique. But it's also a ride-on toy. They got different ones. You could ride it or pull it. And it's got a handle so you can steer it,
That is
like a wagon type handle.
really unique for a toy that big to have a box.
$6,255 for that toy with 44 bids.
Lots of interest.
All right, here's a 1920s Kingsbury. Now, this is a 25-inch toy. Now, it's kind of like what you was talking about earlier. Not only is it a big toy, 25 inches long, it's a wind-up toy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a Kingsbury. And it had 6 bids and brought $3,561. I'm not going to quote the change. Now, here is a nice, it's a massive 1930s Buddy L water tower truck. Now, it's original condition, but it looks rough. The average person seen it, they wouldn't give, 10. If you seen it at a flea market not knowing what's this Buddy L stuff, you'd pass it because it's so rough.
Right.
But this one here brought $1,777 with 36 bids. I mean, this car.
How can you go to a place and look at it and know that it's a valuable?
Well, that's why you've got to listen to Let's Talk Antiques so we can educate you for one thing.
We're gonna let you know what's valuable and what's not valuable.
What you got to do as a collector is decide what do you want to collect, and you just don't start collecting. That's where a lot of people make their mistake. you got to do research and study it. You know, take some time and do that before you decide. Say if you wanted to collect Buddy L toys, start looking at the completed auction and the conditions of them and the rarity of them, and start studying them. You know, study for a month or so before you even buy your
Study
first piece.
how they were made and the companies and the history of the toys.
And
Dang.
you want to make sure they're not making reproductions.
Yeah, now they do make some
and-
reproductions.
Lots
that
of
happens
them
a
now.
lot.
That-
Lots of them
Imagine
now.
that.
Yeah.
If it's worth a lot of money, somebody out there is trying
Yeah,
to
well,
fabricate.
there's even a company that actually made some Buddy L reproduction, and they're kind of high, but they're not as high, obviously, as a real Buddy L piece. You know, say that piece will bring $400, where the other piece will bring $2,000, $2,500. But they actually made them. But here's a Keystone, which is a 26-inch piece, ride-on bus. And it's an old style bus of 1934, so you can imagine what a bus looked like back then. $1,725.
And Keystones are another desirable.
Here's the
line
one
of
called the
toys.
Buddy L Ice Truck. Now this has been restored, and this is another 26-inch piece. Now most of these I'm going to talk to you about are at least 26 inches long, and heavy duty that could actually a full-grown man could stand on. This Buddy L Ice Truck actually has the ice tongs, and it has plastic ice cubes. You know, just like if they were, like the company was hauling it. It brought $1,378 restored. Now here's a 1929 sprinkler Buddy L truck, and it's like a sprinkling truck you would see in a construction site, you know, with a big tank on the back where the
Keeps
water
the dirt water
would keep the
down.
water. Yeah,
Dust down.
this one brought $1,200.
David, the last Buddy L truck that we got, it didn't seem to be that long.
No, the last one we got was it was just a little T model. It was only about
Okay,
11
yes,
inches
it was
long.
T model.
But it was a 1920 T model.
Yeah,
In the original. I mean, no, it's been completely restored.
it had
hasn't
been restored.
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty.
Oh, it was. Now here's a Buddy L wrecker, and this one's the original. It brought a $1,000 bill. Paint's pretty good on it. Here's just a regular Buddy L dump truck. It's got the original hand tag on it. You know, they actually had tags on them that said Buddy L, a little cardboard tag. This brought $1,400.
And it still has the cardboard tag after all these years.
Now, Buddy L also made trains, and here's a locomotive that they're big like the trucks. $950 for a train. Here's another coal delivery truck. Now, most of our listeners, our older listeners, remember the coal delivery trucks. They had a bed that went down. You know, it was wide at the top and went down narrow, so the coal would shoot out when they was unloading it. This truck brought $1,395. Now here's a 60s Buddy L camper truck with the box. Now 60, which makes it what, about 55 years old or so? $725 for it though. Let's go see if there's any other unique ones. Here's another Buddy L that has nickel plated headlights, and this one here is actually a pumper truck. It actually has a tank where you could actually pump the water out. You know.
Yeah.
This one brought $811 with 16 bids. Here's one of them Buddy LT models trucks, not the car. It brought, you might as well say $800. Here's a Buddy L bus that brought $760. So that's just some of the prices of some of these toys, and believe it or not, a lot of these toys are still out there, especially the 50s and 60s toys.
And a lot of people don't even realize what they've got.
Yeah.
You know, they think they've got an old rusted truck just sitting around.
Now I'll tell you another company that we didn't talk about, and we only got about a minute left, and we need to give them a fair shake because they were a good company. It was Tonka.
Right.
I remember
right.
Tonka's still made today. A lot of young men are getting these Tonka trucks right now for Christmas.
And
But
they had,
Tonka really, they started in the 40s making those trucks and stuff, and so they've really grew too. With that, what do you say, Keith? Is it about time to get out of here?
Yes, sir.
All right.